Hello and welcome to True Pathfinder, your portal to health and truth. If you live the average modern lifestyle, meaning you sit a lot during the day and don't have the opportunity or time to exercise, well, then this video is for you, as I will show you a simple method you can use while you sit to improve your health. So, without further ado, let's see how this method works. According to official statistics, by 2010, over half of American adults and a whopping 80% of those over 65 had either prediabetes or diabetes. And unfortunately, these numbers have gotten worse since 2010. We also have a high prevalence of prolonged sitting of between 9 and 11 hours per day at a low metabolic rate during seated behaviors, especially in people who are at high risk for age-associated metabolic diseases such as metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. Even in non-diabetics, postprandial glucose concentration, which is the glucose concentration after you've eaten, in the 60 to 120 minutes range of an oral glucose tolerance test, has often been described in the scientific literature as one of the strongest independent metabolic risk factors for chronic diseases because of its linkages to Alzheimer's disease, neuropathies, dyslipidemia, which is a lipoprotein disorder that promotes the development of atherosclerosis, and cardiovascular conditions. Of great concern is also that glucose tolerance is relatively difficult to improve by a meaningful amount during most therapies, including after substantial amounts of weight loss or exercise. There is no doubt that inactive muscle fibers require little energy and that the whole body oxidative metabolism is low throughout many hours of the day when we sit with inactive muscles. And this may be one of the most fundamental yet overlooked issues guiding the way towards discovering metabolic solutions to assist in preventing some age-associated chronic diseases. During periods of inactivity, the skeletal muscle accounts for only 15% or thereabouts of the whole body postprandial glucose oxidation in non-diabetic controls of similar age and BMI, despite being the body's largest lean tissue mass, about 21 to 31 kilograms in women and men. Contrary to a common notion, even though skeletal muscle is the body's largest lean tissue mass, it is unlikely the dominant contributor to the oxidative metabolism of either glucose or lipids when sitting at resting energy expenditure. The prevailing perspective, mostly from epidemiology, has been that there is a whole body metabolic rate threshold that must be exceeded to induce a robust gain in metabolic health responses. Furthermore, the specific muscles recruited and types of contractile activity have largely been disregarded in human research. In order to comprehend why this simple method that I'm going to show you in this video works so well for improving your overall health, we need to gain a better understanding of the different types of muscles in our body and their specific characteristics. As you can see from the picture here at the top right, we have three types of muscle fibers in our body. Type 1, also known as the slow oxidative, type 2A, known as the fast oxidative, and type 2B, that is known as the fast glycolytic. Type 1, so the slow oxidative muscle fibers, have a slow speed of contraction, but also a slow speed of fatigue, meaning they are very fatigue resistant. Type 2A has a fast speed of contraction and a moderate rate of fatigue. And type 2B, so the fast glycolytic, has also a fast speed of contraction, but also a very fast rate of fatigue. The energy demand is minimal in resting muscle fibers. And therefore, mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation, which is the metabolic pathway in which our cells use enzymes to oxidize nutrients, thereby releasing the chemical energy that we require, is kept at a relatively low ceiling during inactivity. Related to this, the elevated energy demands and fuel requirements for carbohydrate oxidation quickly come to an end when an exercise bout ends. And for these reasons, there is a need for understanding the biochemical effects of sustaining an elevated rate of oxidative metabolism by skeletal muscle, but with a subtle rate of whole body energy expenditure. The slow oxidative muscle, the type 1 that we have discussed, has multiple intrinsic, molecular and phenotypic features that favor a specialization in prolonged contractile activity, in part because of its capacity for using more blood-borne fuels and hypothetically less glycogen in some physiological conditions. And this is supported by many animal as well as human studies that have long described the heterogeneous qualities between different fiber types within a muscle and between different muscles. Meet the Soleus, on which we will concentrate today. Why? Well, because the Soleus has a greater predominance of slow oxidative fibers. 88% of the Soleus mass is of type 1, so these slow twitch fibers. And that means it has more slow oxidative fibers than 36 other human muscles that have also been fiber typed in studies. What is the Soleus? It's a slow twitch postural muscle that is located in your lower leg, as you can see also in the picture here at the bottom right. And it has motor neurons and other features that favor a lower threshold of effort needed to recruit it for more time and intensity than other limb muscles. Compared with other leg muscles, highly controlled studies in rodents have found the Soleus has a phenotype favoring more uptake of both plasma Tg and blood glucose. It also has distinctive vascular features that enhance the delivery of blood-borne fuels as well as oxygen. Let's look then at the exercise itself that is known as SPUs, which stands for Soleus push-ups. That's the name the researchers have given to this exercise. But before we do that, a short reminder, if you enjoy our content, please support us directly by becoming a patron from as little as $5 per month. Link is in the description box below. Also, do not forget to like, share, subscribe if you're not already, and comment to help this channel grow and spread the truth. For the holistic therapy you need and deserve that is performed completely remotely, please do not hesitate to contact us at christine.doctor and check out some of the most powerful holistic health tools available on the market today at vibrantbody.net. Links are, as always, also in the description box below. The problem that the researchers who developed the Soleus push-ups were having was that they wanted to develop a method for raising the oxidative metabolism locally by the employment of small tissue, keep in mind the Soleus is just about 1% of our total body weight. So theoretically, it makes up too small a percentage of total body mass to alter energy expenditure. Therefore, well, unless methods are developed to cause an intense local metabolic activation. So how can people consistently activate tissue-specific oxidative metabolism at a meaningful rate to increase the whole body oxygen consumption and then sustain it for hours at a time? Even if methods were developed to make that possible, would raising the local metabolic rate by a small mass of tissue be sufficient to impact systemic metabolic parameters as complex as very low density lipoprotein, TG concentration, and postprandial glucose tolerance? How can we promote glucose and fat burning to fuel the metabolism for hours while we are sitting? And the answer to this question came in a fascinating study by Mark Hamilton and colleagues, who is a professor of health and human performance at the University of Houston. In this really very well done study, they looked at hundreds of participants, which included an equal number of male and female volunteers with a wide range of BMIs, age, sedentary time, and habitual daily steps. The researchers wanted to understand the responses from local contractile activity of slow oxidative muscle, in this case the Soleus, when the total energy expenditure was relatively close to resting metabolic rate. And they accomplished this by developing and testing a special type of isolated plantar flexion activity that targets the Soleus while you are sitting, which, as mentioned, they called SPU or Soleus push-ups. The results of Dr. Hamilton's research were truly astonishing. They suggest that Soleus push-ups' ability to sustain an elevated oxidative metabolism to improve the regulation of blood glucose is more effective than any other popular method currently touted as a solution, including exercise, weight loss, and intermittent fasting. Your oxidative metabolism, by the way, is the process by which oxygen is used to burn metabolites like blood glucose or fats, but it depends in part on the immediate energy needs of the muscle when it's working. We never dreamt that this muscle has this type of capacity. It's been inside our bodies all along, but no one ever investigated how to use it to optimize our health until now. That is what Professor Hamilton had to say about his research. He went on to say also that when activated correctly, the Soleus muscle can raise local oxidative metabolism to high levels for hours, not just minutes, and does so by using a different fuel mixture. Muscle biopsies that were also performed in this study revealed that there was minimal glycogen contribution to fueling the Soleus. Instead of breaking down glycogen, the Soleus can use other types of fuels, such as blood glucose and fats. And glycogen is normally the predominant type of carbohydrate that fuels muscular exercise. The Soleus's lower than normal reliance on glycogen helps it work for hours effortlessly without fatiguing during this type of muscle activity that I'm going to describe in detail to you, because there is a definite limit to muscular endurance caused by glycogen depletion. When the Soleus push-ups were tested, the whole body effects on blood chemistry included a 52% improvement in the excretion of blood glucose, so sugar, and 60% less insulin requirement over 3 hours after ingesting a glucose drink. This new approach of keeping the Soleus muscle metabolism humming is also effective at doubling the normal rate of fat metabolism in the fasting period between meals, reducing thereby the levels of fat in your blood, also known as the VLDL triglycerides. All of the 600 muscles that we have in our bodies combined normally contribute only about 15% of the whole body oxidative metabolism in the 3 hours after ingesting carbohydrates. And despite the fact that the Soleus makes up only about 1% of our body weight, it is capable of raising its metabolic rate during the SBU's contractions to easily double, even sometimes triple, the whole body carbohydrate oxidation. Dr. Hamilton said the following regarding the results: "We are unaware of any existing or promising pharmaceuticals that come close to raising and sustaining whole body oxidative metabolism at this magnitude." So they found out it's better than any available pharmaceuticals, better than regular exercise, intermittent fasting, etc., etc. The Soleus push-up activates the Soleus muscle differently than when we are standing or walking. The SBU targets the Soleus to increase oxygen consumption more than what's possible with these other types of Soleus activities, while also being resistant to fatigue. So, how do you perform these Soleus push-ups? Well, in brief, while you're seated with your feet flat on the floor and your muscles relaxed, you raise your heel while the front of your foot stays put. When the heel gets to the top of its range of motion, the foot is passively released to come back down, and the aim is to simultaneously shorten the calf muscle while the Soleus is naturally activated by its motor neurons. While the SBU movement might look like walking, even though it is performed, as mentioned, while you are seated, it is the exact opposite, according to the researchers. When you walk, the body is designed to minimize the amount of energy use because of how the Soleus moves. And Dr. Hamilton's method flips that upside down and makes the Soleus use as much energy as possible for a long duration of time. Time to sum it all up then. What have we learned? Well, we've seen that the slow oxidative muscle, most notably the Soleus, is inherently well equipped with the molecular machinery for regulating blood-borne substrates. The human Soleus muscle can raise local oxidative metabolism to high levels for hours on end without fatigue during a type of Soleus dominant activity while sitting, the Soleus push-ups that we've discussed, even in unfit volunteers. And muscle biopsies revealed that there was also minimal glycogen use during these exercises. Magnifying the otherwise negligible local energy expenditure with isolated contractions improved systemic VLDL triglyceride and glucose homeostasis by a large magnitude, e.g. 52% less postprandial glucose excursion, which is the glucose level after you've eaten, and 60% less hyperinsulinemia. Targeting a small oxidative muscle mass, as mentioned, the Soleus makes up only about 1% of your body mass, with this local contractile activity is, as the researchers found out, a potent method for improving systemic metabolic regulation while prolonging the benefits of the oxidative metabolism. SBUs are a potent physiological method to magnify and sustain Soleus oxidative metabolism, which improves glucose and lipid regulation. And the beauty of these findings is that everybody can do it, and you can perform these SBUs while you sit in front of your computer. Very simple and, as you have seen, effective method to stay healthy. With all that being said, I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. If you did so, please consider supporting us directly by becoming a Patreon from as little as $5 per month. Link is, as mentioned, in the description box below. Also, do not forget to like, share, subscribe if you're not already, and comment to help this channel grow and spread the truth. For the holistic care you need and deserve, please contact us at christine.doctor and check out some of the most powerful holistic health tools available on the market today at vibrantbody.net. Links are also, as always, in the description box below for you. Thank you very much for your attention, and until next time, stay healthy.